willkommen bei den P2Pgame.com Podcasts. Heute mit einem Interview mit Mihkel Roosme, dem Head of Business Development bei Estateguru. Mit dabei ist Lars Wrobbel von Passives Einkommen mit P2P-Krediten, mit dem ich ja auch zusammen das P2P-Café mache. Wir haben mit Estateguru über die Corona Krise und ihre Maßnahmen und das deutsche Projekt gesprochen und wie es da weitergehen soll in Deutschland. Natürlich auch über die zukünftigen Themen, die Estateguru geplant hat und was da kommen wird. Da wir das Ganze als Video gestreamt haben, müsst ihr die Audioqualität dieses Mal bitte entschuldigen. Und seht mir mein krudes Englisch nach und achtet viel mehr auf den Inhalt und habt trotzdem Spaß dabei.
Hello, I'm Mihkel Roosme. I'm the Head of Business Development and Board Member in Estateguru and leading the expansion towards the new markets of Estateguru operations. Joined Estateguru around a year ago. I have a long experience in banking, in real estate, myself being an entrepreneur, and from origin I'm a lawyer. So all the combination that basically would be needed for successful expansion to new markets, I think I have. I joined Estateguru mainly for two reasons: for the very passionate owners and the team, and also for the very challenging ambition that Estateguru has set. So that's why I'm here. 1 year done and fully running, satisfied, and also sharing the same passion.
Okay, that sounds good. So welcome in our podcast show. So the first topic is, of course, at this time, the coronavirus. So Thomas, I think you have some questions, right?
Yes, of course, I have questions. Everybody has questions at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
I think more questions than answers. Yes, so what is currently on the Estateguru side done for the Corona crisis? What are you doing at the moment, Mihkel?
Plenty of things. First of all, trying to adjust together with our customers, so together with the investors, to keep the borrowers safe, to get the funding for the promised projects, to encourage and motivate also the investors that the things that we do, we know where we are heading, despite the hard times, that our business model is sound and safe, that we have taken the conservative view on the new projects coming in, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is from our customers' perspective. From more down-to-earth things, this is where we sit all in different places at homes, doing the interview not from the office but from our homes. So I think this is the new reality currently that everybody has. At the same time, we're of course facing the impact from coronavirus to our business results also. March figures, for example, will be somewhat like 20 to 30% lower in terms of sales volumes, which is, I would say, still quite a good result taking into account what's happening. We have taken the measures from our side to balance the cost base for the declining revenue base, and also in active interaction with the Estonian government, with the startup communities, with other entrepreneurs, how to adjust and go through the crisis in the best possible way. And I think the last thing, but not least, still keeping our plans for the future on the table, that once the things get better, that we would be also quite fast be ready to go ahead with the plans we have.
Okay. Maybe additional to that, can you tell us a little bit more about the actual project situation? So there are a lot of projects which are in the payback phase or status. What about this? So do you face there any problems, or what is the actual status there?
I think there we haven't yet faced the problems themselves, issues. We have some concerns might be that have reached our tables, but we haven't yet needed to do some discount somewhere or take even in the loss, etc. So we handle each project individually. We have solutions which are also helping the borrowers to go through more complicated times. We can prolong the loans. We can rewind finance if needed, etc., etc. The investors who want to sell off their positions, we have the secondary market up and live. So I think we are currently in a phase we still will see the real impacts coming to the real estate sector.
You see more action on the second market, and you see more investors who will turn back their money at the moment?
Slightly. In that sense, if you look at the volumes of secondary market, then of course people who, let's say, coming from tourism sector, which is more or less closed down almost, also accommodation, etc., etc. So some sectors have been hit quite hard. Of course, the people having their salaries from those sectors are much more in the need of getting the bread on the table, and the everyday costs need to be carried out. So we see an increased volumes in the secondary market, but still nothing in that sense to mention, which we would phrase as an extensive outflow of volumes. We have still money also coming in from new investors, from the existing investors. We see a slowdown and some hesitations in getting the projects funded. So this is definitely there. Mm-hmm. Investors are hesitant. People don't know what's happening. They want to take the position when there is a more secured environment surrounding them that they don't know which way to run. So therefore, it's very important for us to share the knowledge that we have, to calm them down, to encourage the investors also that this particular business model and the risk that we take, the conservative approach, should be there for maximizing their security side, and just to keep calm and see what things are happening in the markets. So this is what we currently can do as everybody else.
Does this mean in the future you will take more look on the LTV, as it will be a lower LTV on the credits, or does nothing change on this side? When at the moment we see 60, 17% around about this, and it can be in a crisis too high. Mm-hmm. So if you change something on this point, or is it not possible?
We have already. If you look at the Estateguru's total portfolio, then the average LTV is 58%. So we have taken quite conservative approach, actually, all in all, since the beginning. But currently, yes, we don't go and take such high levels compared maybe to some previous periods. Of course, the loan decisions that we have made, some of them need to be adjusted. Some of them are well secured with additional properties. So it's, again, individual case-by-case handling. But answering your question, then yes, in general, we have taken more conservative approach, trying to secure more the loans with collaterals. We have also those private person's guarantees on top of the first-rank collateral. So all our risk and stress tests are showing that we can bear at the moment the drop in real estate prices, even up to 50-60% before our investors also start really losing the money.
And you will not think the default rate will increase in the next months? Or what do you think about the default rate?
Taking my experience from previous crises, it definitely can increase, and most probably will. But as we have kept our default rates in the total portfolio in a quite a decent level, even compared to traditional lenders, compared to the banks, then we see that there is still room to have a bit higher increase and higher default rates, and we can still manage the situation and help our borrowers through the cycle and keep the investors' money safe.
Okay. One step back I want to go. You have talked about reduction of costs. Was there any reductions in staff planned? Or is not planned, but if any staff reduction from Estateguru side, like it's other platforms?
Currently, we have managed to keep the first month at least without any reduction of human resources. We have made a very conservative cost reduction budget. We have adjusted it, cut down some costs where it was easier to cut. For example, the expansion costs, the marketing, IT were the sites where we managed to slow down the developments, to close down the bigger items in cost-wise. We also have introduced the possibility to make a reduction in salaries of all employees, having the solidarity among the management team and all the others. Because 2019 for us was quite significant in terms of hiring the new staff to prepare ourselves for the wide expansion that we are intending and planning to launch anyway. So we would really like to keep the team as they are currently. Let's see what the next months will bring along. But currently, we have the true belief that we can have it without reducing, let's say, significantly the number of staff.
Thank you. Lars, your turn.
Yes. What do you think? How long can you survive if we have this crisis? Maybe for a longer time, let's say 6 months or 7 months with this shutdown situation. We hope not, but it could be. So,
I would phrase it this way: that actually the crowdfunding activity as such, or business sector, was created during the previous crisis, where the traditional lenders were basically shutting down the loan cranes. So the inflow of loan money wasn't there in the market. Entrepreneurs have issues, and then at the same time, still there were several investors who still wanted to have the decent yields for their investments. So putting the backs together and putting up the crowdfunding as such. So we have a strong belief that this will go through this crisis as well. It will come out of it even stronger. There will be new business models introduced. There will be new activities, I think, added on to the crowdfunding platforms. And this is something that we also do. We're trying to basically widen the product portfolio that we have. At the same time, we have created a plan for a longer crisis. We have set the milestones, how we can keep the decent buffer for Estateguru as a company to go through the hard times. We see that still our investors' loyalty and trust, despite those, let's say, last month or even 2, what has been out there in the markets has remained. We try to do from our side everything that they would perceive us as solid partners. And I think this way together we can go through the practical times and then go into the growing and expanding phase even much more stronger than compared to current one.
Yeah. So we have now a lot of struggling marketplaces and also some scams. So the investors lost somewhere their trust in peer-to-peer lending and also this crowdfunding sector. So why should investors continue their investment in Estateguru also during this crisis?
I would put it this way, that scams and cheating is actually, you can face it everywhere in the world. In every sector you can step into those guys who are trying to cheat out your money. But I think, again, the business sector itself is quite young. So it has been a learning by doing for all the platforms, for the investor alongside. I think the hectical and critical times will bring out which platforms are there to survive and which are treating their customers decently, which can survive the problematic periods. We in Estateguru have a solid base for all those key criteria. We have the experience from the previous crisis. We have a very strong management team with experience from different sectors through the crisis. We have set already a firm plan. We know what kind of steps we need to take in order to survive this one. we are working heavily towards our investor base. So if you asked why an investor should keep money with peer-to-peer platforms, it's always a choice. You can invest either into the stock market, you can purchase bonds, you can keep the money in the deposit or at home, but at the same time, real estate-backed loans, investing into those while a company does it for you, the financial analysis, all the debt collection, reinforcement if needed, etc. So I think it's a good business model from really the crowd investor, so people can stay peacefully at home and knowing that somebody's taking care of the money and still making and earning a decent yields for it. And on top of that, it's secured with real estate, which is more tangible. Brick and mortgage for a customer is much more understandable than the things what's happening in the stock market.
Okay, thanks. So maybe let's come to, or do you have some other Corona questions, Thomas?
No, I think we can change to the expansion.
Yeah, or maybe let's come to the topic projects in Germany. So Germany is one new country for you, and we saw already one project. So what project you're planning to finance in Germany right now, or in the nearest future?
We have had temptation also to go to different directions, to finance different projects, whether to go from business customers also or to consumer lending, etc. But so far we have kept our niche, we have kept our focus. And I think this is one of the strengths that Estateguru has, that we know exactly what we do, we know the market, we know the area, we know the business sector. We know how to analyze the projects, how to do the reinforcement, how to enter new markets. And this is what we are intending to keep. In Germany, yes, first project currently ongoing was in the Plattform, I think very successfully. We haven't had in any project so many investors number-wise, and this has been just the first phase. So we're still coming back with the next phases of this particular loan. And in German market, in other markets, this is where we will stay. I said that the crisis time might bring along some new products, and with those we are working still. So I wouldn't go into the details, but there is more to expect, let's put it this way.
Okay. Is the development in Germany now frozen during this crisis, or do you expand in Germany despite this crisis?
Let's put it this way, that we have taken a slow mode. We are, as you know, we are preparing our launch in the market to be compliant with all the regulatory demands. We are setting up a fronting service with the fronting bank in Germany. We are preparing our integration with Lemonway to have the segregated accounts for all the investors with one of the top European player. So that type of things are happening beneath the surface. So those we are still preparing. We are preparing the, let's say, bigger launch. We have agreed more or less already with the country manager in Germany, not hired yet, but we have picked out the person. So that type of activity still can be done. We have in the pipeline several German projects additionally already. We are open to fund new projects which are coming in, but we take a bit slower pace here from one hand. And secondly, as you said yourself, that we don't know how long this will prolong. So we cannot just stay sitting and do nothing. So we prepare everything until we can. When the traveling, let's say, restrictions are off from the table, then we should have a decent flow or volume of projects that we can already finance, go to the notary, etc., etc.
Yeah. So at this time, it's not so easy for you to go to Germany and look for new real estate, right? Do you have there somebody who is taking care of this? Do you have a German manager, or how does it work? Your process in Germany overall?
We don't have a German manager. I'm currently responsible for the new markets where we aren't there yet. I have a partner, one of persons in Estateguru who deals with the actual project analyze for the new markets. We have very well aware and competent risk team who we use as a partner. And in each local market where we go, the first partnership we set up is with the law office. So we have a long-term partnership set up with the law office in Germany. We have set it up our network in terms of brokers, some other banks, etc., etc. So this way, being active in conferences, we have already now built up a decent network in Germany. We have our German investors community, the number one among all the investors, past Estonian retail investors, if you didn't know yet. So we are using our channels, and this has been beneficial so far. We see that even without advertising being fully in the market, we get a lot of inquiries, a lot of questions, and we deal with those.
Okay, thank you. So, Thomas, what about you?
Yeah, I'm wondering about interest rates in Germany. Lars and you, we know a lot of competitors in Germany, and we haven't seen 10% and more in Germany interest rates for real estate projects. So I'm wondering about this. Is it only for the pilot projects, a high interest rate, or do you think it will be normal for the German projects?
We will remain flexible in this field, that we need to adjust according to the market, of course. But so far, taking the examples from Scandinavia, we are now in Finland quite active. We funded in 2019 8 million euros of loans in Finland. And everybody else said the same thing, that, in Scandinavia, the interest rates are much, much lower. So you cannot fund the projects most probably there with those rates. So far, so good. We have a decent pipeline, have funded quite many projects already. So let's see how the market will turn when we have bigger volumes coming up. But in Germany, the same thing. We have currently, I think, 4 or 5 projects in the pipeline, more or less agreed with the borrowers that those will be the terms. Investors are, of course, happy due to those proposed interest rates. And let's see what the market and times will bring.
The interest rate is one side of the coin, I will say. The other side is that you have a secured loan. That's not normal in Germany too, but we see 5-6% interest rate and not first rank secured loans. So I'm really surprised about it, and I hope it will be the future the same too. But we have seen some changes, and it was also a surprise that you changed the German project and have a refund or a recall option for the investors. What has happened?
I think this was one time off activity. The main reason was that the world turned crazy in a very short period of time. The German project went up when things were quite normal still. And then the syndication period lasted for several weeks. We prolonged it, the period. And then when we wanted to close it, then the virus was there and everything was locked down. People were quite hesitant what's now happening, etc., seeing how the other platforms actually closed down the payouts even, saying that even though the investors had the right to receive back the funds, they said that due to those extraordinary situation, we will take our time, etc. So we had several inquiries from the investors, etc. And then we decided in the management team that we will make this one time extraordinary setup, turning towards all the investors in the German loan, which lasted for such a long period, and offering them basically the possibility that if you make the investment during the good times and now actually you would like to change your mind, this is your one-time opportunity. Please use it if you want to. It has been very, very well appreciated. The new projects, of course, now coming up are already settled with new arrangements, new time frame, new situation. So everything should be there, and all the investors have also adjusted themselves with that. But I think this German loan, yes, was one of extraordinary approach that we took. Now looking back, we are happy that we did it, because the loyalty of the investors, the gratitude that we received was enormous. So I think we did the right thing. The extraordinary times sometimes take extraordinary measures. So
I think it's a fair thing what you have done. But some investors have said they can not reduce their invest; they can only cancel the whole invest or stay in. So it's a detail, but we tried our best in order to manage the situation with so many investors. Also, I think ultimately the option was there. The solution, what we offered, and I said there will be next phases of this particular loan. So anybody who actually missed it out or still wants to come in or make the investment, there will be a possibility to do that. And all those investors will stay in the same security level, having the first rank mortgage. Nothing will be in that sense differently. And if I understand you right, the risk management was from your local risk team only.
We have currently a Baltic risk team, but the intention, especially in the bigger markets, Germany, UK, Spain, etc., we will hire a separate risk person to each of those markets as well, with the local knowledge, with real estate competence as well, who will be then in the matrix, be subordinated to the headquarter, but we will have also local knowledge in those key areas that we need for analyzing our projects.
But in the future, we will hire the staff.
Yes, in the future.
For the German project, you have your own local risk management done for this project.
We will. We hand in hand with the headquarter central risk team, because we still need to keep also the quality across all the markets and the risk levels that we take to treat the borrowers fairly equally. So this is what we also need to secure.
So let's come to our last topic. It's your ambition and plans for the upcoming years in general. So what are you planning after the Corona crisis? And there's also a topic coming called regulation. Maybe you can tell us something more about this.
Let's start from the first part of the question, that we have set firm plans to reach out to 5 billion euros funded annually by 2025. I'm really hoping, and we are fingers crossed in the management team, that this coronavirus will pass quite soon, so we can continue with that. And this is the path we're going step by step, doubling the loan volumes, reaching out to new markets, working heavily with the investors, having stronger focus on the institutional investors as well. And this is the way we are intending to go. So what we would say is that the coronavirus definitely will not change the plan. We most probably need to adjust in some certain areas, some key elements, but I think the backbone of the plan and ambition remains. This is where we're heading, and the crisis will not stop us. When we speak about this Pan-European Crowdfunding Act, then yes, it's now in the European Commission, I think, for the second reading. We had the chance to give our input, our proposals to that, which were collected from all the state countries. The current understanding is that 2 years is most probably the more or less the range when it will be implemented in the European Union countries. Until then, we need to deal market by market with each regulator and the demands. And then let's see, once the Crowdfunding Act is there, yes, of course, we hope that it will simplify our entrance to new markets. It will simplify the demands on the compliance side and harmonize it across Europe. Let's see.
Yeah, and it will definitely decrease the scams. So this is also important.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the regulators are not, let's say, keeping enough control. I would say that still these scam schemes can be in every sector. I have a very long history in working in a bank, in a Scandinavian bank. It was also there. Constantly there were criminals trying to cheat out the money from the poor customers. Please enter your internet bank codes or share your credit card number. This is your bank speaking, etc. So happens everywhere. But let's hope for the best. And we are there to confirm to the investors that there are good platforms and we are the best of them.
I think you are right, but it's one hurdle more for some criminals they have to get. So it's definitely positive. So Thomas, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to ask if there some positive aspects for the investors in this regulation, or is it only for the platform side?
For the investors, it for sure gives also the certainty and confirmation that if the one platform is there, it's licensed across Europe. This is like a trademark that you can passport from one market to another. Definitely, I think it's a trust issue and question for us as a platform, simplifying the entrance to new markets. But at the same time, if you are, investor from Portugal and the Estateguru comes to Portugal, has the license which is acceptable across Europe, then it's sign of proof or proof of concept that the Estateguru can operate here. It has sufficient competence, it has the history, etc. So definitely for both sides, it creates additional security burdens. There are several, let's say, more detailed topics which are regulating the secondary market, for example, etc. So those, I think, will be in the favor of investors.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do you have some further questions?
I think not. I think, first of all, I would like to thank you guys that you have been given the chance to
One question.
share.
One question I have, Mihkel. I see, I will guess you will start them on the next expansion in Brazil, is it right?
In Brazil?
Yes. I see the pin. I see the pin on your map.
Well, this is a secret yet. Don't tell to anyone.
It's a secret. Okay.
Yeah. First Europe. First Europe, and then the next continents. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm ready. I'm finished.
Very good.
Okay, Mihkel. Thank you to take time for us and for the community. And yeah, stay tuned and stay safe, and hope to see you in Tallinn in the summer.
Yes, to all investors, all our borrowers, thank you for being with us. Hear more what we have to say. Come and look at our projects and stay healthy. This is the most important thing.
That's good. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye.